It is no secret that the maintenance of Aaliyah's legacy has been less than good. It's subpar on its best day. However, they're making their efforts as most mostly can do with something that happened 23 years ago with the signature Aaliyah doll. 23 years after her untimely demise, the fans are finally being honored with something they've been asking for since before she passed away. But the question is in 2024, was the doll worth the wait? Let's get into it from a PR perspective, baby. Welcome to the Diary of Dupree. YouTube, what's up, baby? It's your favorite antisocial extrovert, your favorite awkward black boy, Blake, mother loving Dupree, back at it again at the Diary of Dupree. Welcome back to my channel if you're new, because I did get a bunch of subscribers over these past 5 days. It's because y'all have been blowing up my previous 2 videos. Not only blowing them up, but supporting them, subscribing. I've gained 200 subscribers in the past 5 days alone. And obviously, with the soon-to-be ban of TikTok, which was my most followed and supported platform, I'm grateful for everybody who visits this channel, not only visits but stays, like I said, posting consistently more and often, supporting anybody who supports me. So if there's anything that you need, I ain't got no money now, but if you need something like a repost, a like, a follow, let me know, or subscribe. If you need some advice, I give advice on TikTok all the time. Comments, let me know so I can do as much as I can, and keyword can do, and make it a no. Like Dupree, if I need 1 million, this ain't the bitch to come for 4 million, because I ain't got it. I got 1 million reasons, but I ain't got no $1 million yet. We working on that. But the more I get subscribers, the closer we get to that goal. So when you can't ask me for some money, I can say yes. But I'll do anything that I can to do to help out the people who help me on this digital platform. Welcome to the Diary of Dupree. My name is Dupree. I'm an actor, artist, host, all them type things. Follow me everywhere. I have a new single called Wait, came out last month, featuring my boy Niche. And we are not here to talk about me. We are here to talk about a milestone within Aaliyah fans' legacy. And I'm here making this video because Aaliyah is always my #1 inspiration when it comes to music, artistry. I just grew up on her, so I just love her down. She was just the epitome of a well-versed, virtuoso artist, somebody who could sing well, dance well, act well, and carry themselves in the public eye, even in the midst of scrutiny within the 90s, extremely well. And so I'm somebody who was 24, so obviously when she passed, I was a pissant. So seeing a doll made in her honor felt good to me, because honestly, it should have happened years ago. But we're going to get into that. We're going to get into all the things from a PR perspective. We're going to get into my personal views about the doll. And we're just going to get into the public's persona about the doll, and honestly, the maintenance of Aaliyah's legacies post-passing, I should say, and the lack thereof, I should say, of maintenance. Because if we compare hers to her counterparts who had passed on way longer before her and have still maintained social relevance, it's lackluster. Let's get into it. I got some notes, so let me put my glasses on. From a PR perspective, the lack of commercial success surrounding Aaliyah's legacy can be attributed to several key factors, from impact branding, audience engagement, and the preservation of an artist's cultural relevance. Here is a more detailed breakdown. Limited access to catalog being #1. Y'all, for 2 decades, we could not stream her music. We could barely buy her music on CDs and stuff. Like, I remember when I was in Kmart, when I was about 12 years old, I was lucky enough to find the AJ Nothing But a Number CD. But when I would go to record stores or just other like CD shops like Fi, Radio Shack, when they had them open at the time in Best Buy, they had none of Aaliyah's catalog as far as I was growing up. I know maybe in the early 2000s and late 90s, of course, when she was still alive and they were pushing the album, you could find them more widely. But post-death, it seems like her CDs were wiped off the shelf, and you definitely couldn't stream up until 2021. And from a key art strategy, preserving an artist's legacy is maintaining accessibility to their work. Without access to her music, new generations of listeners cannot easily engage or discover her artistry. This lack of exposure hampered the growth of her fan base and the development of nostalgia-driven marketing campaigns. We all know nostalgia is a hell of a drug, especially in such dark times like these, where we are very unsure about all of our futures, especially when all of us still want to be children, and especially since a large group of Gen Z had their childhood taken away from them, or I should say a traditional childhood taken away from them due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Gen Z and Gen Alpha will be the highest addicts of nostalgia in about 10 years, and some of us are already seeing the nostalgia-driven impact addicts crawl out of the surface, me being one of them. And it used to be a time where if you were an Aaliyah fan, it meant that your parents were well versed. It meant that you were part of a rare group of people who discovered her music in a time where it was very hard to access it outside of radio, outside of maybe YouTube, outside of your parents or grandparents educating you on who Aaliyah was. You really wouldn't know because the pen was not being pushed post her death. There was no easy way to get access to her music. And I remember discovering Aaliyah when I was about, I want to say 12 years old. This boy named Quinshawn Dobie, I will never forget. He started playing Aaliyah's I Don't Want It. And I knew that song growing up, but I just didn't know who sang it. And he was like, well, this is Aaliyah. I really like Aaliyah. And from there, I just went home. I YouTubed all of her videos. And I just fell in love from there. And one lucky day, I was watching VH1 and her Behind the Music came on. And I was like, oh, this chick was dope. And when you're 12, 11, you think 22 is just such an old age. But now that I'm 24, I look back at all she achieved and wonder why her success wasn't more relevant 10 years later. Because there are a lot of 22-year-olds who could not do what Aaliyah could do. And her story can be very inspirational to young people, so that you can overcome obstacles and maintain relevancy and do it with class and demure, especially for our young girls in a world where there's not a lot of representation for Black young teenage girls and Black young women in the industry doing the thing and not falling to sexual overtones in every single aspect of their artistry. Aaliyah's representation was, and I feel still is, needed for young Black girls specifically. But number 2, absence of consistent legacy branding. Other late icons like Whitney, Pac, Selena had their legacies continuously reinforced through documentaries, albums, and merchandise. For Aaliyah, there has been a lack of coordinated branding efforts to keep her legacy alive in mainstream consciousness. From a public relations viewpoint, PR strategies for posthumous branding often involve creating narratives that tie the artist to timeless cultural values. For example, Tupac's activism or Whitney's vocals legacy. Everybody says Whitney is the voice. Now, Whitney was the voice. Everyone says Whitney is the voice. It's because she was. That is true. But it's also because her camp, post-death and pre-death, made it clear that no matter what Whitney did to lead to her own demise, or no matter what the world did to her to lead to her demise, she will always be the voice. That was through sales post-death. That was through marketing. Whitney has had too many docu-series to count. It's too many movies to count. They milking the cow, and the cow has been gone for 10 plus years, but they milked it immediately. And when I say immediately, I'm saying within less than 10 years of her demise, Whitney Houston has received at least 4 biopics, docu-series, has appeared in other people's docu-series and biopics. And one thing reigned true through all of those depictions is that Whitney was the voice. Aaliyah needed that same type of representation from her team post-demise, and she unfortunately did not receive it, especially within the 10 years. It's almost like she passed away and the world wanted us to forget that she was even there. I mean, there were so many inspirations from Aaliyah that weren't mentioned. I would say Ashanti, Amari, Tinashe, Kehlani. I remember even Kehlani saying she wasn't an Aaliyah fan, and Tinashe kind of had those same remnants, but the industry instantly compared those two artists to Aaliyah, which is some big shoes to fill, especially when you really don't know the impact of Aaliyah's legacy that opened doors for your career. Number 3, missed opportunities for cultural relevance. Aaliyah's influence in fashion and music remains significant, but these contributions were not consistently leveraged in mainstream campaigns. For example, her iconic Tommy Hilfiger look and streetwear aesthetic would have been tied to partnerships with current brands that emphasize 90s nostalgia. A PR perspective, without strategic collaborations or tributes, Aaliyah's presence in modern culture feels underutilized, especially when compared to how brands like Fenty have celebrated other icons. Kind of going back to what I said earlier, that it's like the world wants to take from what Aaliyah brought to the industry first, but not acknowledge Aaliyah. Baggy pants, do-rags, crop tops. It seems to be a lot of the R&B girlies' first aesthetic before they branch into who they fully are before they're mainstream. It's like labels will give a girl an Aaliyah aesthetic, say she's shy, say she's a tomboy, but they won't even know where that aesthetic is coming from, and that's why they're not clear on who Aaliyah is through and through, and they get caught up in interviews saying that they weren't inspired by Aaliyah, but your team was, and they set you up for failure. Number 4, estate disputes and conflicts. The tension between her estate and record label led to public conflicts that created a fragmented narrative about her legacy. This discord overshadowed the opportunity to focus on celebrating her work. Public disputes can alienate fans and partners. A united front between stakeholders is crucial to ensuring the artist's legacy is positively reinforced. It's no secret, y'all. Her father is no longer with her, and her father was one of her 2 managers. Her mother is the last thing we truly heard was that she was battling cancer, and Rashad is living his life as he should live his life. I don't believe that a family's sole purpose once somebody in their family has passed away is to honor their legacy and forget about their own individual lives. A team that I feel like has that balance from the outside looking in is Selena's family. All of her Selena siblings have had children, have married, now have grandchildren. The grandchildren are doing their thing, the children are doing their own thing, but they all pitch in to keep Selena's legacy alive via the museum, via the Netflix series we got a couple years ago, via the movie, via Selena the musical. That is another example of a family milking the cow until the cow has long been gone, but milking it and finding balance within their own lives to be like, hey, we love you, we miss you, we honor you, we thank you for your contribution to our family and to society. And that is why Selena is still known as the Queen of Tejano music 25 plus years after her passing. But they also encourage us to view that their own lives are their own lives and that they do not live to serve Selena. They make Selena a big chunk of their lives, but they don't live to serve her. And they're on one accord. And if they're not on one accord, we won't fucking know. When it comes to Diane, Barry, Rashad, and Michael, rest in peace, the world knew that Diane and Barry were not talking because Barry made that known. The world knew that the Diane did not want to hear Aaliyah's music for a long time because she just missed her baby. I don't think that we should have known certain things. I think if there were issues behind the scenes, keep them behind the scenes and come together on a united front to give us something of consistency. I have mad respect for Rashad for, doing his efforts to get us a wax figure, a perfume line, some would say a cologne line, a boombox, a Funko Pop doll. Like, Rashad clearly cares about his sister's legacy because he is on the front line every single time. If there's an Aaliyah appearance or a Aaliyah hallmark in her career, he is there on the front line making that appearance. And if Diane is dealing with health issues, I can only imagine the pressure that this has on one person. Rashad is doing the work, and I respect him for that. And he has his own life, and I respect him for keeping his life, keeping it private, keeping it on the low. But I will say, Rashad Houghton, you are very handsome. That's all I'm gonna say. That's all I'm gonna say. That's all I'm gonna say. On to number 5, shift in media consumption. Aaliyah passed away before the rise of social media and digital music platforms, where legacy artists now gain renewed popularity through viral moments. Her PR team and estate were slow to adapt to these trends. Now, I know we have the Aaliyah app, which is cool, which is great, but I haven't seen much updates to it. And we have countless Aaliyah fan pages, but it seems like outside of the official page, there's not really a main source that people turn to honor Aaliyah's legacy. Like, there's no Beyonce.com. There's no main Instagram. There is a main Instagram, but it seems all spread out throughout the masses between the fan pages and the actual account. And the fan pages seem to be more up to date with updates than the actual Aaliyah account. It kind of misconstrues where we can go for official sources, for official announcements, and it makes things a little bit sloppy, if I'm being honest. But that is because the Aaliyah fan page, the official one, was late to being set up to the game. By the time the Aaliyah Instagram page was created, there was already 15 countless Aaliyah fan pages. And there's Aaliyah, Whitney, Selena fan pages. Like, there are people who dedicate Instagram pages to artists who have passed on, and Aaliyah is usually one of them, not just Aaliyah. And it makes things sloppy for true fans to find the true source of information that they're looking for. I will say Hayden Williams does a really good job of preserving Aaliyah's legacy, and he's a great source to come to outside of the Aaliyah fan page and outside of what Rashad does. And Rashad's page is private, if you didn't know. I'm lucky that he lets me follow him. But I feel like there needs to be some type of social media rebrand or social media detox and cleanse to really make the official pages of Aaliyah's legacy and Aaliyah's estate stand out. That's just my public relations advice and perspective from a social media aspect. It looks kind of sloppy. It does. And like I said, people were announcing the Aaliyah doll and showing us the Aaliyah doll, and her official page has yet to announce or even acknowledge it. But we know it's official because there's the Maytel branding on it. If you ask ChatGPT, it confirms that Aaliyah doll is in existence and is being sold overseas. But if you look at Rashad's page, you won't see any mention of it. If you look at the Aaliyah Instagram, you won't see any mention of it. It's like, you guys should have been the first people to announce this. I understand that they're waiting to announce it for the States on her birthday and make it a surprise. But in 2024, there's no such thing as a surprise anymore. Everything's getting leaked. Even Beyonce's album, every time she makes a secret drop, it gets leaked. So it's best to just milk the cow first before the cow milks you. And that's all I can say from that perspective. Some advice that we could give the estate now is just give us more storytelling campaigns. I want to see a podcast. I want to see a docu-series. I want to see a movie. I want to see strategic brand partnerships. There's no reason that the Tommy Hilfiger has yet to revitalize the Aaliyah official Tommy Jean. Where is that at? Like, I want to see interactive experiences. I know we had the wax figure and y'all wore that motherfucker out, and it needs to be a silk press every day because y'all kept taking pictures of it and touching it. But I want to see an Aaliyah museum. I want to see something. Give us something that we can hold on to. I want to see more Aaliyah live performances. Like, I feel like this doll is a step in the right direction, but it speaks to the lack of maintenance that her legacy has on the culture, and it's because her estate has not been the best of maintaining such legacy. You know, Aaliyah worked very hard. For somebody who really only had 7 to 8 years within the industry, took a break during those 7 to 8 years, every time she dropped, it was a success. Even in the midst of rumors and allegations and things that I feel like get addressed way more in the media than her actual work, she had a very significant impact on the culture while she was alive. She was getting acknowledged by not only her peers, but the icons in the industry. She was getting ready to take over. We need to show young Black girls, especially in 2024, that you can have it all and not take all your motherfucking clothes off. You can have it all and not rap about sex. You can have it all and not even be a fully fledged adult and still make moves within your life to set you up for a better future. That is why I feel like this doll should have come out years ago. Selena had a doll 2 years after her passing. Why is it taking 2 decades after Aaliyah is long gone for her to get a doll? And then the rollout is being piss poorly managed. It's quite sad. But when the doll arrives, I will be ordering 1+1. I will be getting one to take out of the box and review, and one to keep in the box forever. But this is a doll that I feel like my childhood self would have appreciated more. But I like the fact that they are releasing it 20 years later, because it's giving the generation Gen Alpha a chance to realize who Aaliyah is and play with an Aaliyah doll and become an Aaliyah fan. And I will say that is a pro on that end for releasing the doll 20 plus years after her demise. But I do feel like you could have easily released the doll 20 years ago and people would still be buying Aaliyah dolls and keeping Aaliyah's legacy alive 20 years ago, post and pre. That's just my personal opinion on everything. Like I said, overall it is a win. Congratulations to Aaliyah's team. Thank you, Rashad and Diane and Hayden Williams. And I will even say thank you, Barry, for getting us the music that we've been dying to have streaming for years. People are working hard over there, but I just don't feel like the work is coordinated enough. Maybe I need to hire me. You know, hook a brother up. I'm a big Aaliyah fan, but I can understand to a certain extent why it feels like the family needs to take breaks from the memory, because she passed in such a devastating way and she was so young, but people just want more. But you have to understand, we're on the outside looking in. They just lost the matriarch of their family, the patriarch of their family, Michael Houghton, 11 years ago. And when I say just, I know that 11 and just don't really coordinate, but grief is eternal, grief is everlasting. So I send my flowers to them and send my respects to them. I hope it will show them that we still miss Aaliyah, the masses do, and we acknowledge her for her work and for her contributions to the legacy and for her contributions to R&B and for her contributions to entertainment, not for the bullshit that seems to pop up every 2 years when somebody's going to jail for something that Aaliyah had nothing to do with. Aaliyah was a victim. She was a survivor. She was an artist. That is what Aaliyah was. Period. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoyed me giving my perspectives from a personal impact to a PR perspective. And one more thing, I would say that we need a second doll because Aaliyah has too many iconic looks, especially from her last album that should have been highlighted. I would have loved to see a formal doll from her 2000s MTV Video Music Awards win in 2000. But hey, I'm gonna take what I can get. I do feel like we need a line of dolls that could be easily created to honor her legacy and honor her sense of style that all these bitches bite from. Period. That's what we needed. That's another thing. The doll looks great in my eyes, but you could easily give her 2 to 3 looks, not just one. I love y'all deep. Till next time, peace and blessings. Make sure you look in the mirror and say, yeah, I am that. Whatever that is for you, you are that. Love y'all, man.
Wow.
Wow, what?
Okay, so since we got into
Wow, mother.